Grief is a thin place, a place so thin it's hard to tell where earth ends and heaven begins. Grief is a place so thin it's where the living and the dead feel one another's love. I'm the Reverend Lisa Hamilton, and I grieve. First, I'll read a scripture appointed for today, and then I'll struggle with those words through the lens of grief. I'm glad you've joined me. Today's scripture is John chapter 15, verses 1 and 6 through 16. Jesus said, I am the true vine, and my Father is the vine grower. Whoever does not abide in me is thrown away like a branch and withers. Such branches are gathered, thrown into the fire, and burned. If you abide in me, and my words abide in you, ask for whatever you wish, and it will be done for you. My Father is glorified by this, that you bear much fruit and become my disciples. As the Father has loved me, so have I loved you. Abide in my love. If you keep my commandments, you will abide in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. I have said these things to you so that my joy may be in you and that your joy may be complete. This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. No one has greater love than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. You are my friends if you do what I command you. I do not call you servant any longer, because the servant does not know what the master is doing. But I have called you friends, because I have made known to you everything that I have heard from my Father. You did not choose me, but I chose you. And I appointed you to go and bear fruit, fruit that will last, so that the Father will give you whatever you ask him in my name. Nobody chooses grief. It chooses us. It insists on changing us. Nothing has shaped me. Nothing has shaped my life. Nothing has shaped who I am, like losing my first husband when we were 32. And nothing shaped our child's life, like losing his dada when he was barely 2. Grief forced me to think of myself as a snake shedding skin. The life I knew no longer fit in the wake of Scott's death, not the job I had loved, and I shed it to enter divinity school. Not even the town we had moved to as newlyweds, and I shed it to move a few states away to a city I'd never seen before. But the word shed makes it sound simpler than it was. In truth, it was agonizing. I remember watching people walk down our driveway from the tag sale I held shortly before we moved. I remember one person in particular carrying this kind of soup container that was shaped like a goose. It was so fancy that we used it as a doorstop. We'd even named the goose, although I can't remember its name now. Egbert? I'm not sure. But I remember watching somebody carrying that goose that I had sold, walking down our driveway and feeling like I was watching our life walk away. Only the love of others can help us endure the agony of grief and make the transitions it requires. When it feels like your life is leaving you, it helps to have someone hold your hand. For several months, friends would help me move, a room at a time. Many traveled several miles to do so. And we sorted, we cleaned, we packed, we donated, we kept. One even helped with the drive the day we left the only home Teddy had ever known, the house where Scott had died. We were all young, in our 20s and in our 30s, and I think we were all unprepared for the power objects sometimes hold. Grief endues objects with a meaning that cuts to the quick, like Scott's chucks. When he started chemotherapy, Scott bought himself a pair of bright red Converse sneakers. It was 1990, and nobody wore bright red Converse sneakers, Chucks. That probably explains why they were on the sale rack. Shoes were goofy. I think they appealed to Scott's goofy side. And they were cheap, and that appealed to his thrifty side. Somehow, those goofy, cheap sale shoes nobody else wanted served as Scott's personal shield and sword as he battled cancer. Every time he had a treatment, a doctor's appointment, a procedure, he laced up his ruby red Chucks, and we faced it. I kept those Chucks for Teddy in a chest full of other memories of his dad, baseball hats, the videos Scott took incessantly. Fellini himself couldn't have been more pleased than Scott was the day he got on tape our baby rolling from his back to his stomach. "Teddy's first rollover," Scott proudly shouts from behind the camera. For that moment, nobody's baby had ever rolled over before. At the urging of a friend, I kept a couple of pairs of Scott's dress shoes. Men's dress shoes never go out of style, he told me. And someday Teddy will want to wear them. Someday Teddy did. It was 8th grade when Ted grew into his dad's shoes. And when it came time for graduation, the only question was whether he would wear the black pair or the brown pair. And he chose the black, reasoning that they looked more special occasion. Just a summer later, high school, Ted had already outgrown his dad's shoes. A couple of times he squeezed into them, but they were just too tight for comfort. And somehow we never got around to donating those shoes. But the friend who encouraged me to keep them for Teddy all those years ago, well, he's Ted's godfather. And he's the friend who drove us from Ted's first home to his second. And Scott's shoes that Ted outgrew, they fit him perfectly. Grief is a thin place.